all the best support builds for Naomi.
Time comes for us all, young kit. You live long enough, you too may have to come to grips with that reality.
Hi friends, I'm TTB, welcome back to Mechwarrior 5 Clans. Now, all pilots in Mechwarrior 5 Clans do have certain skills unique to them that only they get, that will make it so that some weapons are better or worse on these pilots, and of course that gets further reinforced by the affinities that you can unlock by getting a certain amount of skills, where you can then increase the factor of those skills by another 10 or 20% or even 30% if you combine, for example, a certain mech weight class together with a specific mech. Jaden, for example, gets energy range, missile cooldown and ballistic cooldown, and of course that influences what kind of builds you would want to put onto this pilot. Naomi is going to be the focus of this first video of the series, and of course we're going to have more videos on all the other pilots as well. Now, the left side is the same for all the pilots. You get melee, you get evasion, you get handling. Evasion, I would say, is still the most important skill, because that means that you will increase the chance of an enemy just missing, which is really, really nice. Evasion, by the way, only works if you're walking perpendicular to a target. So if a target's looking straight at you, you need to be going left to right or right to left. If you're going straight at the target or straight away from the target, the evasion skill will not work. Naomi's unique points are missile range, missile spread, and heat management. In order of importance, if you decide to use Naomi as a LRM support pilot, I would say the order of importance would be heat management into missile spread and then a last missile range. This is at the end of the campaign, by the way, and as you can see, I can't fully spec missile range, but you can do so if you go to the barracks and if you do the specific missions in the Simport. You could do some campaign missions in the Simport, do a couple of them, and just do a couple of the advanced mission parameters. Each of these gives a couple hundred XP together. It just adds up, and then at that point you will be able to fully skill your pilot if you so choose to. My recommendation would be to do these early, when you're just starting out in your campaign. Do a couple of these missions and use that to skill up your pilots. All of them will get a lot of XP, especially the stuff with like tonnage of a certain amount or less, or stock loadouts. You can do all of that together in one go, no problem, most likely, especially if you're playing with some friends. Now, without further ado, Naomi. I said evasion, highly important, but if you choose to go for weapon skills first, I would go spread first, into heat management, into a missile range. What kind of builds could be run with this? Well, I've shown you guys a couple of those builds in the past, but I would say today we're gonna go over 5 builds specifically. We've got an adder, we've got a Hellbringer, Timberwolf, Warhawk, and Direwolf. So this is an early game LRM boat, this is a mid game LRM boat, this right here, mid to end game, and then 2 end game LRM boats. What do all these mechs have? Tons of LRMs. What do I not use? I don't use Artemis, and I don't use tag lasers, because I find that they mostly don't do anything or don't seem to do anything right now. So because of that, I'm not gonna add any tonnage to our mechs by using something that I don't know is working for sure. Let's go on to the adder first. The build is on screen, guys. Do take note that they will have different omnipods for different components. So by the way, guys, in case you don't know, you can switch omnipods. You don't have to switch all the omnipods on the mech. You can switch individual omnipods. For example, the right arm right here, let's say you would have the prime arm. You could just choose a different arm, in which case, for example, I am choosing the adder Charlie arm right now, but you could also use the alpha arm. It really depends on just which one you want to use. But this way you can just select an arm that you want, and that can be of a different omnipod than the rest of the omnipods. So for this build, what I have selected, and this one doesn't matter, right? So it could be Charlie, it could be Prime. Yes, okay, perfect. So for this build, the Charlie arm, LRM 15, 1 ton of LRM ammo. Charlie right arm and left arm, same thing here, LRM 15, 1 ton of ammo. The center torso gets a ton of ammo, and then the side torso right here on the right side, triple LRM ammo and the LRM half ton ammo on the prime, and on the left torso the same thing, triple LRM ammo. You will notice there are no backup weapons. Don't use backup weapons. If you use backup weapons, your pilots are going to try to get in range to shoot those backup weapons. So for example, if you use an ER small laser, yeah, your pilot's gonna get very close to your target to try and shoot that. So don't even worry about that. If Naomi is going to be your support mech, you build her for support. You don't build Swiss Army knife, you build support. You give her lots of LRMs, in terms of weapons, and you give her tons of ammo. My builds are going to be designed for you to not have to go to a ammo box and loot that, and if there's no ammo box, you have a problem. These builds should have enough LRMs to last entire missions without restock, which no stock build does. So yes, these builds are going to have LRMs, LRM ammo, and some cooling. That's it. We don't need much armor, because armor, not that important for an LRM build, you're shooting from far away. So we're using all the tons for ammo. That simple. Okie dokie. As far as the right torso is concerned, I used the prime right here, just because it has some extra front armor, because it doesn't carry any weapons. Alright, this would be the adder. Then I have a Hellbringer for you guys. This Hellbringer is going to be using a total of 4 LRM-15s. In order to get all of this together, you need just the prime variant. You could just use the prime center torso. I've got the alpha right here, but the prime center torso is perfectly fine. You're going to need the alpha right torso and left torso, and the Virago Hero Mech right arm. Everything else can just be prime. So, in the right arm from the Virago, 2 LRM-15s, 3 tons of LRM ammo, and a half-ton standard armor pod. I'm using standard armor pods on the Hellbringer because the Hellbringer has paper-thin armor, and I feel you have to add a little bit there to not make it die instantly. On the left arm, nothing. I'm just using whichever left arm we have available right here. The Prime, I believe, has the same armor as any other Hellbringer arm, so yeah, just use any old arm. It's not going to do anything. Then, for the right torso, we're using the Alpha right torso, LRM-15, double heatsink, 4 tons of LRM ammo, and 0.25 tons standard armor pod. You could also think about just removing the double heatsink and investing that into more armor and spread that throughout the mech. I will leave that up to you. Left torso, once again from the Alpha Omnipod set, we're just mirroring it. LRM-15, double heatsink, 4 tons of LRM ammo, 0.25 tons of standard armor pod. CT gets 0.5 tons of standard armor pod. Head component gets nothing, legs get nothing. Like I said, those 2 double heatsinks, 1 in each side torso, you can remove, just add more armor, for example, to the legs or to the side torsos, or maybe to that arm right here. But the main importance right here is lots of firepower and lots of ammo. As you can see, 4 tons here, 4 tons here, 3 tons here. That together is 11 tons. You might think that's a lot, but trust me, throughout the mission, if you're constantly learning, it is gonna go low at some point. The next S-tier mech, by the way, if you haven't seen my mech tier list, I highly recommend you watch that. The link will be, of course, in the video description. Timberwolf is going to be our first S-tier mech that we're using, and we're outfitting it with double LRM-15s once again, and tons of ammo. As you can see, Timberwolf, at only 10 tons more than the other mech, carries a lot more armor in total, so it's going to be the safer variant once you have unlocked the Timberwolf. And we can just add another half ton of ammo here. There we go. Okay, so what you will need is the Delta Omnipod set for the left torso and right torso. And then for the arms, I believe it doesn't really matter. It's actually a good idea to also use the Delta arms as well, because they have some extra armor on them, so that's very nice. And for the center torso, I use any center torso that doesn't have any weapon slots available, and that means I'm using the Bravo center torso here. You could also use the N center torso, or from the Hero Mech, the Warrant center torso. As long as they don't have weapons, they will have 90 front armor from the get-go. Weapon systems, super simple. 2 LRM-15s and 3 tons of ammo in the Timberwolf Delta right torso. 2 LRM-15s, 3 tons of ammo in the Timberwolf Delta left torso. 1 ton of ammo, LRM in the center torso, and then the right arm gets 3.5 tons of LRM ammo, and the left arm gets 3 tons of LRM ammo. Once again, this mech is built to stay in the back and just keep shooting constantly. Then, next up, another S-tier mech. This would be the Warhawk. Warhawk is an 85-ton assault mech. I tried to fit it perfectly, but unfortunately we will be left with a half-ton unused that we can't put in because we just need every single slot in this mech. That is due to the left torso of the Warhawk always having 4 internal double heatsinks that cannot be removed, so you can't do anything here, and that hampers, of course, the efficiency of our mech a little bit, but on the plus side, it's gonna be fairly well cooled. The Warhawk is gonna get a couple of things. We're using the center torso of the I variant right here. Then we're using the Bravo right torso and the arms from the Alpha. So you need a couple of different mech sets unlocked to make this happen, but I promise you it's gonna be worth it. Now, let's start out from the center torso. The eyes on the torso is probably the last one you should get, it's the least important. 2 LRM-10s. Then we get the Bravo right torso, 2 LRM-15s and 2 tons of LRM ammo. The left torso doesn't matter. Then we take the Alpha left arm, 2 tons of LRM ammo, and LRM-20 and another 2 tons of LRM ammo. And then the right arm gets a whopping 9 tons of LRM ammo. Yeah, you heard me correctly. And then the legs, there's nothing you can do there, so these are fixed as well. All in all, we've got LRM-20 here in the center torso, plus LRM-30 right here, so that is LRM-50, plus another 20, so LRM-70 all together on this mech, which is nice to have, plus ammo out the wazoo, so this is easily enough to carry you through some of those later missions, and it also has enough cooling to keep on shooting like crazy, so this is really going to be a good build for Naomi. And then finally, the final form, of course, is going to be an LRM Direwolf, and this one's pretty beefy. I'm not gonna lie. Once again, we used all the slots that we could use, and I wasn't able to fill the tonnage fully, but you know what? That's okay. That is the cost of a mech management, mech lab system that PGI chose to implement here, which doesn't give you that granular control that Mechwarrior Online has. And because of that, unfortunately, we cannot have as much as we want, but we get pretty good builds together anyways. For this to work, you will need the P Omnipod set, the S Omnipod set, and the Alpha Omnipod set. You're going to choose the center torso of the S variant, and you will put in a LRM-10. The left torso from the Alpha variant gets 2 LRM-20s. Then, if you choose to go with LRM-15s here, of course, you can add more ammo, and then you will be able to fill your mech, but I want you to go for like the maximum amount of LRM volley possible. I want to give you something like big damage, right? So, right torso, use the Prime that gets extra armor. Just fill it all up with LRM ammo. Then the right arm from the P variant, 1 LRM-20 and 6 tons of LRM ammo. Left arm of the P variant, you guessed it, LRM-20 and 6 tons of LRM ammo. And then the head from the P variant, yes, the cockpit slot gets an LRM-10 as well on top of that. And the right leg gets 2 tons of LRM ammo. You can't add any ammo to the left leg, unfortunately. That double heatsink is locked. Funnily enough, this mech is also going to have a jump jet. So, what do you have in this mech? Well, let's count. 20, 40, 50, 60, 80, 100. So this is a LRM 100 Direwolf with a couple of double heatsinks still. It is, therefore, doing quite a bit more damage per salvo than the Warhawk, but it also runs hotter. So this hits harder and does more damage more quickly, but it doesn't have the same sustain as the Warhawk build. All of these builds, in my recommendation, deserve 2 sets of weapon groups. I'm going to do them right now live so you guys can understand what I'm doing. If you want Naomi to pilot this, my weapon groups would look something like this. This is not fixed right now. Just give me a second here. So I'm going to put one weapon group like this and one weapon group like this. This will tell the AI, if you have heat, Alpha Strike, and if you're too hot, you have the option to chain fire. Another option would be to do this differently, to make the first group chain fire and the second group Alpha Strike. I'm not sure if the AI is then going to prefer to just Alpha Strike them or not, but that would also be an option in this case that will deal better with single small targets that don't take too much damage, but it will slow down your damage delivery on those big juicy targets. Hence why I like to go like this. I want my lurm boats to shoot their full volleys, and if they overkill, it's fine. I don't mind. So this would be my setup. So there you go, guys. Other builds, of course, that I have made for LRMs will be linked in the video description. For example, the LRM Mad Dog, but I found these are actually quite effective. The LRM Adder is going to carry you quite a bit, because anything you could do, let's say, for example, with a Shadowcat, add 10 tons more, it would still be the same amount of LRMs. The Nova, you're not going to use that realistically for LRMs. Stormcrow, maybe, but honestly speaking, I think the next best variant is going to be the LRM-15 Hellbringer, because that thing can carry LRM-60, no problem. The Timberwolf does the same thing with a little bit better heat development as I'm summing this up. And then the Warhawk, great for sustained lurming with LRM-70, and the Direwolf hitting hard with the LRM-100 Hammer. All in all together, these are, I would say, the best builds that Naomi can run. I hope I explained everything well enough, and if there are any further questions, just put them in the comments section below. And if this video was helpful to you guys, give me a thumbs up and let me know as well. And let me know what I should do for the next pilot. What should be the next pilot, and what kind of builds would you like to see? Let me know in the comments section. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much, supporters. Couldn't do it without you. If you want to join Team TTB, check out the join button right here on YouTube, super thanks button in the comments section, or of course the links to Patreon or the merch store listed in the video description.